For £5 a month, you can support this young thug to not support a shit North East team. My rants, YouTube. Welcome back to another video by myself, My Rants YouTube. And today we're going to be looking at a historic club. A club that I would say, in my opinion, are the second best club in the North East. It's Sunderland, and we're looking at the rise and fall of Sunderland Athletic Football Club. Now, this club has had its ups and downs, truly, and today we're going to be looking at some history about the club, then the dramatic rise, and surely the dramatic fall. So let's get into this fun-filled episode. And by the way, do not take offence to the intro. It's just a bit of a light-hearted joke, you know, due to the past couple of seasons for Sunderland. But like and subscribe, and let's get in towards this historic video. Now, Sunderland, a club which is based in the Tyne and Wear, the Wear side of the North East. They were founded in 1879, and this historic club started off at the Roker ground, the Roker place, and they left there in 1997, and they moved into the now Stadium of Light, which can cater 49,000 people. In that time, they've had some iconic managers, the likes of Gus Poyet, Dick Advocat, Paolo Di Canio, Peter Reid, Roy Keane, and many more, to name a few. But currently they have Phil Parkinson, the successor of Jack Ross. Now, this club is known as the Black Cats, and that's quite ironic because the Black Cats bring this sense of non-luck to the club, and it's been truthful over the seasons. Now, if you look at history, they're not afraid to win trophies. Like I've highlighted, they have won the First Division 6 times. They won it in the first time in 1891 to 92 season. The last time they won it was the 1935 to 36 season. A lovely fact for you in that season, they won silverware. They won silverware twice, the Charity Shield and the Premier League. Well, the First Division. The Second Division, they won it 5 times. First time in the 75-76 season, the last time 2006-2007 season. And they have won the Third Division once with 2 FA Cups, with an iconic win over Don Revie's Leeds, and the Charity Shield and Sheriff of London Cup. The most recent titles, hopes, were back in the 2018-19 season and the 2016 season, where they lost to Man City in the League Cup final, and then they lost to Charlton in the playoff final 2-1, and they lost against Portsmouth. We're now going to reach into the democratic rise of this notorious club. Now, Sunderland were known to be a very successful club pre-war, and this shown adversitally via the team of all talents through the years of 1890 to 1908. Glorious 18-year period. The club pre-held through winning First Division titles to having mad striker partnerships. For example, the mad Scottish player John Campbell, who he was netting 30 goals plus per season. Now, Sunderland go to show that the majority of their trophy wins were pre-war, before the 1945, after World War II. And they won further championship titles from the 1908 to 1950 season, 42-year period. A standout player for me, Charlie Buchan, 221 goals in his career at Sunderland, and Hogg, can't remember his first name, but he scored a euphoric hat-trick on the 5th of December 1908, beating their rivals Newcastle 9-1. The Sunderland were showing to be a euphoric, bottle-balancing team. This team was becoming a barn staple in English football, as they have won a barricade of trophies, including 2 First Division titles. But in that period, 1908 to 1950, they won plenty of trophies. But especially, they won their first FA Cup, beating, I think it was Norwich. I may be wrong. I think I'm wrong. Probably am, because I do get wrong with some of these. But they won the Charity Shield in the 36th season. But I feel like, for me, their best rise in their history was the 1972-73 season, where they were underdogs going into the FA Cup final, going up against a notorious juggernaut of Leeds United, ran by the Don Revie era. 1972-73 season, one man screams his name out in the crowds: John Montgomery! That's right, John Montgomery, a Sunderland legend, helped their side win Don Revie's Leeds and to put a dampener on their season, winning the FA Cup for the second time in their history. But you've got to say as well, their history goes further along down the line, and this is the last bit of rise they had. In the 1995 to 2002, in that 7-year period, they seen players like Beardsley, Super Kevin Phillips winning the European boot in the 1999-2000 season. They had managers like Peter Reid ripping up the scene 1996 to 2003. And they moved into the Stadium of Light, attracting more fans to see beautiful football. But that was it for the rise. And from 2003 onwards, we now come to this madness of a fall. Again, as I walk through the valleys of these streets, we come to 2003 and Sunderland's fall. This was the first chip at the old mortar block. They faced relegation to the Championship for the first time in a long time, 16 years I'm thinking, with their lowest ever point tally of 19 points. What stood out was it was the lowest ever points tally for a team in the Premier League with 19 points. This club in that season, Peter Reid got sacked in October of 2002. This led to Howard Richardson succeeding Peter Reid, and then he was sacked and Mick McCarthy took over to try and secure some safety in Sunderland. But then for the next 3 seasons, this happened. 2004, they got to the playoffs of the Championship but sadly missed out. But then the next season, they won the title with an emphatic 94 points. But if in the same season of 2006, you've seen a iconic signing, Sean Wright Phillips, Manchester City youngster, moved from Man City all the way to Chelsea for £21 million. Now the most standout story, the most standout signing for Sunderland in that season was a striker who netted 2 goals in 29 games for Blackburn the season prior, and the name is Sean Stead. That's right. And how much was he bought for? I think it's 1.8 million. I haven't got enough cash. Oh, well, that showed, because the lack of spending, the lack of funds Sunderland had, they couldn't string good performances. No money equals no success. They brought in the likes of Daryl Murphy, an Irish striker. They brought in Noel Nosworthy, a young defender. They brought in Andy Gray, not that one. And they brought in Kelvin Davis, a ageing goalkeeper. This goes to show you need to spend to do stuff in the Premier League. And this led to their worst ever points tally of 15. Just starting off bad and finishing bad. But you've got to take something from this season. Still, they weren't showing the performances, but 30,000 fans still showed up, and that goes to show Sunderland do have a following still. But then from 2009 to 2016, 2008 to 2016, for 8 years, they were the relegation dippers. They were floating on the relegation zone and just beating the relegation spots each season. Their best season was in the 2010 to 11 season, where they came 10th place with star players such as Asamoah Gyan. They brought in for £13 million. Darren Bent for £11 million. Lee Cattermole, Jordan Henderson, Simon Mignolet, Stepan Malblanc. These players brought their team to a bit of hope, trying to restore some hope. The iconic beach ball gate where Darren Bent confused Liverpool's Pepe Reina to go the other way. But then this wasn't going to help Sunderland, as in 2016 they faced relegation. But I just want to clarify quickly, I want to highlight this man, a legend of the club, Jermaine Defoe. He was swapped in a deal where he moved to Toronto in 2012, moved back to England in 2014. He swapped for Josie Altidore, and basically he brought flair, he brought panache, he brought goal scoring ability, first time since Kevin Phillips in the late 90s. And he also brought restoration to a young boy who was battling with neuroblastoma, and that boy was Bradley Lowry. And I just want to say right now, respect and rest in peace, Bradley Lowry. You're still a legend in everyone's eyes in the football community. Rest in peace to Bradley Lowry, and big respect to Jermaine Defoe. Let's get on to the rest of the video. Now, in July 2016, the season started off with an absolute humdinger. Sam Allardyce left Sunderland to go for the Premier League, the England job, but that didn't last long. It only lasted 46 days. Oh no. But in that season, it just goes to show that season, it was bad. David Moyes took over, and in the first 10 games they only could secure 2 points, 2 draws. They were relegated for the first time in 10 years with only 5 wins to their name in that season. But what I don't get is they sold Pickford for 25 million with a possible 30 million charge. But where did all that money go? That's what I wanted to know, but I couldn't find any source. They brought in lack of penetration, lack of panache, lack of empathy. They had no source of players who were good enough to break the mould in the league, in the championship. Simon Grayson, coming from Preston, took over, but it wasn't enough for him to restore faith into the club. Chris Coleman came along, but still wasn't enough. But then a money-grabbing prick came along, Stuart Donaldson, for Easterley chairman, to ruin the club in tatters, and they faced back-to-back relegation. Now, coming into the 2018-19 season, Jack Ross, not to confuse with Bob Ross. Oh, hi there. I've just drawn a smiley face. Quite ironic. But on a serious note, Jack Ross guided them to 2 trophy triumphs. Unfortunately, they fell at the last post. They went to the playoff finals, unfortunately being beaten by Charlton Athletic 2-1 with a small consolation in the last minute from Maritz Bauer of Charlton. And they lost the EFL Trophy final to Portsmouth. But they had some standout players in that season, the likes of Max Power, Aidan McGeady, Joshua Madja, who scored, I think it was 16 goals in that season, and then he got his dream move to Bordeaux. It wasn't really a dream move, just to get out of the League One. And Lyndon Gooch, Duncan Watmore, Charlie Wyke, Glenn Louvens, plenty of players. And this season has been better for Sunderland. Although they have finished 8th place with no playoffs to play for, this season has been good for one reason. Stuart Donald has left the club 5 days ago. He has put the club up for sale, basically. The club is now open on the market, needing a chairman. But this season was good, with joint goal scorers Lyndon Gooch and Stephen Maguire bringing in 10 goals each. Luke O'Nien, tasty midfielder, quite agile, quite composed with 4 goals. Charlie Wyke, a young striker with 6 goals. And it just goes to show that Sunderland may be back on the rise with these brilliant players coming through to the club and with their toxic chairman out. You won't be needing these £20 specimens no more. You'll be flying high in the Championship next season, I predict. So from me, my Rant YouTube, like and subscribe. This has been the rise and fall of Sunderland. Over and out.